If you have ever had an issue with Live Nation in relation to concert tickets or anything for that matter, then boy, do I have a podcast for you. Tommy Dorfman is my guest today.
Reluctantly.
This podcast reluctantly sponsored by ThompsonMortgages.com. Get a better rate, term, and service for your 2026 mortgage renewal. Concept Clothing and Culture. ConxEPPT.com. And Wendy Campbell, Realtor with BlackmoreRealEstate.ca. Also a Realtor partner with Rowett New Home Builders.
Reluctantly.
Thank you very much for having me, Terry.
Absolutely. Nice to meet you. Glad to have you on the Reluctantly podcast. I guess the first thing I want to know is, when is this going to be made into a movie?
Well, my goals are to get a jury trial and get ticket prices lowered for all the fans and let independent promoters thrive again and artist development get created again, but mainly for the fans. So something I really have never thought about.
You know, it's really something, and I will get into the meat of everything with Live Nation, but I want to make sure that everybody's kind of got a background story a little bit, and people may have heard of you even as far away as Edmonton or I mean, this podcast is available worldwide. I have listeners all over the place, but this is not a story that's been quiet by any means. With you, it's I guess it started for the with the love of music from your dad back in the day, going to concerts and stuff when you were a kid.
Yeah, that's how I got into music. My father took me and my sister to concerts at a young age, every different one from Michael Jackson, Madonna, Bruce Springsteen. You pretty much name it all the time, and it got me the passion for music.
Did you have a specific genre that you went after, or did he just try to expose you to everything to make sure you were well rounded as far as a musical taste is concerned?
Yeah, I don't know if he was trying to expose me to everything. My dad was great. He passed away when I was younger, but he took me to every different genre. I guess maybe that's what he was just into, loved music. So I went to everything from Motley Crue. Years later, I ended up becoming friends with Tommy Lee from Motley Crue, booking his first DJ gig. So every different genre of music he really took me to. So I don't know. I guess it really heated my passion. I don't know if he tried to or not, but it just happened that way.
You grew up in New Jersey.
Yeah, from New Jersey.
What did your dad do for a living?
My dad did construction.
So he's a working man, blue collar, trying to do the best he can for his family and trying to expose you to the arts and music and all that. That's probably why the memory sticks. And even though you lost him at a young age, it is probably one of some of the core memories that just never go away, right?
Absolutely.
Being able to share that with your sister too, I'd imagine, is pretty special.
Yeah, those memories we'll never forget, and best times out of my life.
Is your sister pretty up to date or involved in any way with what's going on with you, between you and Live Nation, all of this court stuff?
Yeah, my sister's name's Colleen. She's up to date and fully supports me with it, and has been backing me for fighting them 15 years now.
Okay, we'll get like I said, we'll get into more of the Live Nation stuff, but more background stuff on you. So you get the bug from your dad for music. You go and see live shows and whatnot, and then all of a sudden you're out of the house by 16, and to pay rent, you start hosting house parties and charging people $1 to get in so you can pay your rent.
Yes, I started renting houses to survive, and to pay for those houses, I would throw house parties, charge people to get in, charge for a cup for a keg of beer. I would get friends that were DJs. It was called house music then, became EDM. To DJ for free. We would do parties, hundreds and hundreds of people, crazy parties. And that's how I kind of got into the music industry unexpectedly.
So is that just in random neighborhoods? Is it was like the house that you were renting? Or you, like you said, you started renting houses? You weren't renting houses like flipping houses or something like that, were you?
No, I definitely didn't have the money to flip houses. I was just renting houses to have somewhere to live, and to pay for those houses, I was throwing parties in the houses with
Gotcha.
DJs, bringing hundreds, sometimes up to 1,000 people inside a house and outside.
Oh,
I got kicked out of a lot of houses. Um, Crazy stuff happened. Like with house parties, underage house parties. A lot of trouble comes with it. So a lot of different houses that I went through during that time period.
I was gonna ask you, how did the neighborhoods, feel about you being in the neighborhood after that first house party in each one?
Yeah, I would say probably I was definitely not the neighbor they liked unless they were coming over and having free drinks. If they were hanging out and drinking and party with us, they liked me. If not, they were going, "Wow, what's this craziness going on where we have 800 underage kids raging across the street?"
At some point, you had to figure it out that, maybe a house in a neighborhood is not the place to do this. When did you, make the shift to clubs?
Well, I didn't even do that intentionally, I guess. I back in the day there was like famous clubs in New York City, like the Tunnel, the Limelight, Carbon, and I used to like go to these clubs like almost like every like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and I would bring all the people, like a good amount of people that came to my house parties, like 200, 300 people come in the door. And then someone was like, "Hey, we'll pay you for a guest list. We'll give you $1 a head to bring these people in." So starting getting paid like $1 a head to bring people into the New York City clubs. And then I sat there and I looked at it and I was like, you know what? I love music. I can do this. My family was like, go to college. I was like, nah, I'm gonna create a club empire. Everybody I knew looked at me like I was crazy with 10 eyes, but that was then it was my mission to build a club empire.
Was your first club, party or club gig, I read that it was at a mob-run club.
Yeah, being from New Jersey, you know, you deal with the mafia a lot. So my first, I ran a lot of parties, but my first successful solo party was like 96, 97 at Club Kokomo's in Paramus, New Jersey. That was owned by a mob boss. Yeah,
So 96, 97. How old were you at that time?
probably 19 years old or something like that.
So with that, I mean, you're all of a sudden you're running club parties and you're running clubs and bringing guests in from all over and getting a buck ahead and starting to make some cash, starting to flash it around. I would imagine a little bit, and then your name grows. Then what happens from 19-year-old Tommy bringing people in for a buck ahead to all of a sudden running things and getting to the point because at some point you owned your own club, didn't you?
Yeah, so at that first party, successful one there, I made like $6,000 like my first night doing 1,500 people. I was like, whoa. So my name really quickly grew in the industry. I was known as Tommy D in the nightclub industry, and my name quickly grew. And then club owners were calling me left and right to come in and impact their clubs. It wasn't just me. At beginning, it was just me and one person, but over time, I built a team. We worked really, really hard. My company was Tommy D Primetime Promotions at the time, and then we became the go-to. Over the years, we ran every major club through New York, New Jersey, Miami, booked every major celebrity. And if you had a club of 1,000, a club of 10,000 people, and you want it packed out, you called me. And we came in, worked 7 days a week, me and my team, 20 hours a day, and we packed those venues out. And for 15 years, over time we grew. We were at complete. I was complete top in my team of the whole entire industry. I opened a nightclub. I won the best sound system in the world. I was featured in a lot of major publications back in the day, like Club System, Live Design. Viewers probably don't know them now, but that was kind of like winning like an Oscar in my industry. So I had peaked. I got to the top. I ran the Jersey Shore Karma show. That was cool. I didn't like it. The Jersey Shore the first year, the show people don't really realize was dead. The club Karma. I ran MTV parties and for 10 years doing jackass parties from like like Steve Abbott in Cancun. MTV paid me to go pack Karma, and the club paid me to pack it out. So I grew to, you know, if in New Jersey I brought the Kardashians, Paris Hilton, Snoop Dogg, Tiesto, got to the top. And then I hit a plateau where I wanted to get bigger.
I suppose if you're filling first of all, I can't even imagine a 10,000 person capacity at a club. Like, where the hell was that? Is that just a New York City club? Is it
Yeah, I ran I was one of the directors at the legendary Sound Factory, New York City, and, I guess I don't go by capacities. I get scared for a second because that's one thing you always used to remember the fire marshal. But, back in the day there, we would stuff people in like sardines in a safe way. We never had an issue with that, but we would run parties that lasted 24 hours straight, um, up to 10,000 people. I was sometimes running uh, 5 parties a night, 5,000 to 10,000 people at 5 parties a night between New York and New Jersey, Atlantic City, and even Miami at a time. After with my team, with their really hard work, together with a lot of failures first to get there.
so if you're running 5,000 people or over the course of a 24-hour period, 10,000 people are going through one venue. What are people paying to get into that place?
It really varied, but, the prices weren't ridiculous. The prices were pretty fair, like, a lot of times the cover was 10, 15, $20 to get in. Some, like, New Year's Eve, you're charging more money when you have open bars and stuff, but prices were not like they are now where everybody gets ripped off. It was at a fair level.
So you're making 50 to 250,000 dollars a night for one venue, and you say you start doing that in different cities and different states. You're in New Jersey, you're in New York, you're in Florida and stuff. You must have started rolling around in some pretty decent cash.
Yeah, I was doing pretty good. I was doing every major celebrity out there. If anything in New Jersey, if you came to New Jersey, you were coming to me. Like, did Paris Hilton's first DJ gig in New Jersey, Tommy Lee's back in 2000, first DJ gig. I became good friends with him. Like I said, my dad took me to his Motley Crue concert when I was a kid, so that was kind of cool. Um, yeah, I was involved in a lot of stuff, but it was a lot of hard work. You know what I mean? 20 hours a day, 7 days a week, and I always led from the front. Like, I didn't just sit back and hang out in the club and just drink champagne with Snoop Dogg. I'd be running when I ran everything and I was at the top, I'd still go out with my street team, go to college campuses, hand flyers out face to face, invite people to parties, them take those flyers, smack me in the face with it. They don't even realize I own the club or I own the party, but it didn't matter because that's how I started it off. And I've always had a bit of firm believer, never ask anybody underneath me to do anything that I haven't done or I still won't do. And I live by that motto today.
And then hey, you look at it as like guerrilla marketing, man. You got to get out and in front of people's faces, and you make sure that they know what you're doing and put a face to everything so that they can relate to you. I mean, you're just a guy from New Jersey trying to give everybody a good time, right?
Yeah, I'm just a Jersey cat. That's it.
Yeah.
Came from the streets, from Jersey cat.
So all of a sudden you get to the point where you're booking Paris Hilton and Snoop Dogg and that sort of thing, and then you have the opportunity to put a festival in the Meadowlands in New Jersey.
Yeah, so I reached my goal with a lot of hard work in my teams over a lot of years to get to the top of the club industry. I created that club empire and I wanted to get bigger. And at the time, house music, it was called house music, became called EDM,
Uh-huh.
like before it was cool. And I was one of the pioneers of that. I saw that it was going to break mainstream, like rock and roll did back in the day. I saw it was going to go mainstream. So I made a deal. For me to grow, I needed to get into the festival industry, and I made a deal with the State Fair Meadowlands. If anybody from Canada there knows the Jets and the Giants, I'm a Jets fan. Don't hate. At least I'm loyal. They had a brand new $2 billion stadium built in 2011, and I signed a 10-year exclusive deal with the largest fair that was right out in the stadium's parking lot. 500,000 people, 150 plus rides over 4 weeks to produce all their concerts exclusively. And my start off on that was house music, EDM, which I was a pioneer of. And everything was going great and happening until company Live Nation Entertainment found out about it.
Well, that's the thing, somebody starts humble beginnings, a buck a person, running a guest list, pulling people into a club, helping people out in another business. You develop it into something that's your own. You build it, you have a team, you work hard, like you said, 20 hours a week, and you get it to a certain point where all of a sudden you're starting to realize your dreams and see how you can grow it bigger than you could ever possibly imagine. And that's when they get you. That's when they want to tear you down. So I guess here's the big question is how much of this conversation do we have to preface with allegedly?
I'll
Because
say
you're
allegedly when I have to say it, but I speak openly.
okay. Because I mean, obviously you're still going through court proceedings or you're trying to get court proceedings continue, right?
Yeah, so when I got wiped out by Live Nation, I don't have to allege they did it, and I'll prove it at trial. When they blocked all my talent, blocked all my ticketing, blocked my festival, ruined my reputation, and wiped me out of the industry like with the click of a little button. I've been battling them for 15 years in New Jersey federal court. 15 years. I'm one of the longest lawsuits, I think, in the United States. I'm not even on appeal for tortious interference. I'm being a monopoly, and I'm still waiting a trial date.
Let me tell you about my mortgage broker for a moment. Mike at thompsonmortgages.com has been client focused for over 17 years. They take care of all the financial components of your real estate purchase so that you can concentrate on finding the perfect home. Whether you're a first time buyer or renewing like so many other people in 2026, let thompsonmortgages.com work for you. They find the lender and it costs you nothing for their services. The lender pays. Download the app and get pre-approved in 60 seconds. ThompsonMortgages.com, 780-413-6743. Tell them you heard about them on the Reluctantly podcast.
Reluctantly.
So how much of this is it that they are well, I mean, you talk about the defamation and tearing your business apart and basically trying to get it to crumble to the ground, which it seems like that they've been pretty successful at doing. But at what point do you? I mean, what have you got left from everything that you built? What do you still have that you can use to fight?
Well, so I'll circle back. Oh, sorry. So when the festival was going great, I had millions of dollars in offers out for all the artists. Artists like Tiesto was the number one DJ in the world. Were confirming with us, Swedish House Mafia. This festival would have been the largest EDM festival the East Coast had ever seen in the United States. And Live Nation, I didn't even know who they were because people think, "Oh, you're crazy. How didn't you know Live Nation?" They weren't involved in house music, my world. They were like their CEO, Michael Rapino, said they were behind the eight ball, behind the game. I've been doing this for 15 years. When they found out about it, they wanted to be part of it. And they came in and they attacked me on a multi-pronged attack to the Meadowlands Sports Authority, bashing me at the powers that can be, to the owner of the State Fair Meadowlands. His name was Al Dorso, to the talent agencies, and then directly to myself, telling me they were going to block all my talent, all Tiesto's dates, all my artist dates worldwide, and prevent me to get tickets from Ticketmaster, which I thought they were bullshitting. And this is executives telling me face to face that I have tape recordings of, because I didn't know they owned Ticketmaster until after that meeting when I Googled it and I knew I was fucked. Um, so they just got a lot of power. They got involved, and with a click of a button, um, they exactly what they said. They followed through, and I'll prove it at trial. Wiped out my whole entire festival industry. I allege, but they did. They defamed me. I'll prove it at trial. My name was on as a number one promoter in the New Jersey Star Ledger. That was the largest publication in the not in the United States, so in New Jersey at the time. And my name, Live Nation, got my name removed off that after they got me wiped out and kicked out of my festival by blocking all my talent.
So when you say blocking all of the talent, it's not something as simple as I mean there is ways for a company to go in and reach performers and say, "Hey." if you do this, then there are going to be repercussions. Do you know if any of the artists were allegedly threatened with, being blocked from future work on their behalf if they would have carried through and gone with you on your venture?
Absolutely, I'll prove it at trial. Live Nation came in and I'll prove it at trial. I have the receipts. They told the artists you perform to all my witnesses across the board. They told the artists if you perform at this festival, we'll block your dates worldwide. Their top executives, Jason Miller was the president of their biggest market, New York City, told me directly that William Morris Agency was the biggest talent agency in the house music EDM world at the time, was their exclusive agency, and they would not allow me to get any talent unless they came in like pit bulls, like savages against me. Um, unless I had a contract, unless I would kick my partners out of the contract, partner with them. Live Nation would fund the whole entire festival, give me 50%. My partner's names were Vito Bruno, who's a legendary promoter in New York City, like legendary, and John DiMatteo. I only had a handshake deal with them. Now, going back to when you talked about my dad, circling when we started off.
Mhm.
As a kid, my dad, he was a hardworking guy. I learned something from him. If you had a handshake deal with somebody, you never break it. After my dad passed years later, I'd run into people like that he paved their driveways or you name it, and or paid them to pave driveways. And they'd be like, I had a $30,000 deal with your dad. It was verbal. He could have just beat me. But you know what? He always paid me. So when I had this verbal deal with these partners and I told Live Nation, I will not kick them out of the deal. They told me if we don't kick you out, if you don't kick them out, we block all your talent. We get you kicked out through the Sports Authority of the Meadowlands. And we block your ticketing from Ticketmaster. No ticket, no show. We own them. They followed through with their threats, and uh, my career was destroyed.
So, was there ever any point, Tommy, where you could, and I know principle is everything, and the handshake deals that you talked about with your father and the honor and that goes along with that. Was there ever any point where you could have backed off the level of that festival, sort of that deal, at that height, and just gone back into the nightclub sort of thing and hovered around that area, or did they completely take away everything?
They completely took away everything. When I refused to partner with them, I know I was the lesson of the industry. At the time, their CEO, he's still the CEO now, Michael Rapino, said he was scared. It's in publications. He was scared. Electronic dance music, house music, it just became that to the mainstream.
Yeah.
He was behind the eight ball and he was fearful that lesser known organizations were going to lock up properties and they didn't need to move quick to stop them. I was the lesser known organization that locked up the Meadowlands. And his other thing he said, you needed to acquire or hire those promoters. I refused to be acquired. I refused to be hired. And I was that lesser known organization. I stood up to them. They basically had a gun in my mouth. I've had the mob with a gun in my mouth, but it's the same thing as a shotgun marriage, just gangsters in suits, nothing different. I refused, and then they wiped me out. They've ruined my reputation. I'll prove it at trial. I got blacklisted from all the agencies, from the whole entire industry. I went from the top a few months before my birthday, chilling with Snoop Dogg, Joel Santana performing for free, having one of the biggest EDM DJs there. Ja Rule just showed up and wanted to perform on my birthday for free, and I didn't even know him. Almost kicked him out, but let him perform. Um, yeah, legitly, I had to ask Snoop and Jewels if it was okay if he performed for free at my birthday. So I went from that. And it wasn't all, it was hard work. It wasn't just these parties like that. And I went from there, and in a short period of time, I lost everything. Lost the whole entire career, lost my whole entire reputation because they defamed me to everybody and wiped me out, and ended up losing everything and going homeless.
And you yeah, I was gonna get to that because you end up getting homeless, and then all of a sudden you're selling cable door to door, so if your resources and your funds are completely gone, how do you end up mounting any sort of legal case with a legal team? How does that all happen?
Yeah, great question. I'd get really good at selling cable door to door quick. um, so I started as you said, I ended up going homeless. And I wouldn't ask anybody. Like most people didn't know I was homeless, but I had a lot of friends then, but I wouldn't ask them to stay in their houses because it was just embarrassing that I had lost everything from this company and pride. And I got a job selling cable, going door to door. I got good at it really quick, luckily, working really hard. And that's how it actually funded my litigation against Live Nation. And over the years, 15 years, I've built a successful company, RD Enterprises, with door to door direct sales, selling cable door to door. That's funded this litigation against Live Nation and Ticketmaster for 15 years.
So everything that Live Nation has brought against you, and all of the wrongdoings or alleged wrongdoings, however I'm required to legally speak of it, I don't want to
Yeah,
get
they did it. Yeah.
okay.
So
I don't want to get sued, and I don't know what you have to watch as far as what you say when you're discussing it. But what are some of the positive things that have happened in your favor? I know the whole thing is shitty. I get like I don't don't I know that. Okay. But what are some of the positive things that have happened as far as your legal team, your litigation, anything government wise? Is there anything gone up to the Supreme Court that have senators or governors gotten involved? What has happened to Live Nation that you think is a good thing?
yeah, I'll definitely get into that good thing, but first, a lot of bad things. Live Nation, look, I've been 15 years. I don't think I have to say anything. You can ask your audience. I'm out on appeal. What case would ever take 15 years unless you got a lot of power and a lot of politics? If I did this to Live Nation, do you think the Meadowlands $2 billion brand new stadium would just be rusting and sitting there for 15 years? But moving forward, I don't blame the courts. I blame Live Nation. They delay, 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 and that's how monopolies win. In recent years, I have one attorney. His name is Andrew Smith. Really good attorney. And he's sticking with me, but he battles 2,000 attorneys from Live Nation and 2,000 paralegals. So I do a lot of the back end legal work myself. It's tough. I had one summary judgment motion, which on liability, which ensured me at a trial date in a trial. And I'd be the first trial I will be since Live Nation and Ticketmaster merged in 2010. I'm not the first victim though. Fans are victims every single day. Many other promoters, artists are victims every single day. But in the last couple of years, I had an expert report that I allege Live Nation runs a criminal enterprise in the billions and billions of dollars. That report was successfully suppressed by Live Nation's attorneys, not through any merit or facts. They never even disputed that my report was correct. They did it just through technicalities because we don't have the legal funds to beat those technicalities or resources. A late congressman out of New Jersey, Bill Pascrell, United States congressman, in the last 2 years, his team uncovered that report as Live Nation's attorneys accidentally put it on a public court website after they fought so hard to get it knocked out, threatened to knock my case out. The U.S. attorney of the New Jersey, Philip Selinger, was one of their attorneys. He had threatened sanctions that made me within like 2 days. I had to swear that this would never get used in any my litigation or any other litigation, or my case they would force my case to be thrown out of court and make me pay them hundreds of thousands of dollars just for the report. They accidentally uploaded it. Pascal's team found it, and they sent it's the biggest lawyer oopsie ever. And Pascal's teams found it, and they sent the report to the United States Congress, the Senate subcommittee, the Department of Justice, the FTC. And after that report being sent to them, within 2 months, the Department of Justice filed antitrust litigation against Live Nation, which I was very happy about, which is going on now.
Is that what was called the Barnett Report?
Yes, the
Oh,
Barnett Report.
ok
Dr. Barnett wrote the book on the concert business. If your kids, my kids are a little younger now, but if anybody's kids go to college or you went to college for the concert industry, you read his book. He wrote the book on the industry. He reviewed their internal documents. And through their documents, it's alleged, but it's there. It shows that Live Nation's running a criminal enterprise that we intend to prove at trial. We will prove at trial.
Hey, give me a minute to tell you about Concept Clothing and Culture. CONXEPPT.com. Suits and tuxedos. And you can find them right here in Edmonton. They're handmade suits, custom tuxedos, tailored essentials, suits starting at $1,188. You choose everything: the color, the fabric, even the stuff on the inside. You know, the little pokey pocket thing that sticks out. It's amazing. It's a terrific experience. You can go through and get something as fancy as a tuxedo, or you can start with outerwear, matching sets, tailored essentials. They even do shirts, trousers, vests, and they do amazing couture for women. CONXEPPT.com. Concept Clothing and Culture. Look your best.
Reluctantly.
This podcast is reluctantly sponsored by Wendy Campbell, realtor at blackmorerealestate.ca, serving the greater Edmonton area, proudly Canadian and locally owned. Contact Wendy at blackmorerealestate.ca. That's WENDE at blackmorerealestate.ca. Why does she not have a Y in her name? I don't know why. It's none of my business, probably none of yours too. Wendy has over 20 years of home sales experience. She has extensive knowledge of the new and previously owned home market. She can help you out with a free market evaluation of your home. And if you're looking to buy your forever home, she's got all the resources to help you with that as well. Not to mention, she's a builder partner with Rowett Homes. Wendy at blackmorerealestate.ca. WENDE at blackmorerealestate.ca.
Reluctantly.
So the allegations are that Live Nation's internal documents showed how the company runs an illegal rebate scheme and kickbacks and all kinds of stuff for almost every event. Is it that bad?
Yeah, it's worse than that. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Live Nation, they receive massive kickback from venues. Venues don't want to pay them. Some of these are state-owned venues. Live Nation tells them, you don't give me, let's just make an analogy, $10 a head back. That means Live Nation is going to get $10 a head back through Ticketmaster. Ticketmaster is the enforcer of this. Without Ticketmaster, they couldn't do it. Back to us for every ticket sold. The independent promoters don't get any of this money. The artists don't get any of this money. And then what Live Nation does is they say, screw giving us $10 back. You want to inflate the cost of rent? You want to inflate the cost of the production of the event? And I'll pass it on to the artists. I'll pass it on to the independent promoters. Give me $15 a head back, and I will do so. All that money goes in Live Nation's pocket. The artists lose a lot of money. The independent promoters, I've seen thousands and thousands of shows with artists, independent promoters in the red, begging Live Nation not have to pay them. And Live Nation on the back end, and their CEO is directly behind this, I allege, and involvement, high-fiving each other. We're making so much money. So yeah, they run a billion, I allege and I'll prove, they run a billions and billions dollar rebate scheme. Their business model could not exist today without this. And if my evidence, I get a trial date and my evidence is exposed, ticket prices will drop 20 to 30% within a day. That might sound crazy, but I have their cooked books. They have 2 sets of them.
It
2 sets are never good, right?
no, I
I've
guess
dealt
it
with the mafia, and the only other people I ever dealt with that 2 sets of books are the mafia.
and I watched The Sopranos too, you know?
I've dealt with those people, but
Yeah,
they're very nice compared to Live Nation.
yeah. So, when you talk about 15 years dealing with this, just putting everything together from, your first house parties when you were anywhere from 16 to 19 years of age, and then all of a sudden you have, stuff happening in clubs, and then you're multi-city, and then you own your own club, and then you start to do the Meadowlands thing, and then, that's 2011, 2010 sort of thing. Now we're talking, 2026, so you're basically 15 years you're fighting this. At what point do you say, "You know what? Maybe I'm beat," or do you just not have that in your head?
Well, like, when I first started off, it was economic dispute. I wanted my money. I have tape recordings of their top executives confessing to what I'm saying and a lot worse. I thought Live Nation would apologize to me, give me money, and give me my festival back. Well, I just wanted my career back. Through the years, um, information I've seen, information so disgusting. You even see stuff like with Astroworld, where people are dying at events. Information I've seen, events want security, want more security for the safety of their fans. On that Netflix documentary, and Live Nation tells them, no, this is what it's going to be. And if you don't agree with us, we skip your venue. We don't even skip your venue for that show. We skip your venue for all shows. And then these rebates and the fraud I allege, the ticket prices have gotten so out of control. It's $1,000 to go to a show. I have the information why. Most people don't. I'm the only litigation that has ever gonna make it to a trial. There's nobody else, just so you know, that's made it to a trial. They got beat by a technicality, they threw in the towel, or they took a payout. I'm the only one that has it. So after seeing that information over this many years and seeing what I got, and from what I've seen, if you looked at, I feel like I have a moral obligation to bring it to a jury trial and expose the information to the world for the greater good of the live entertainment industry and the fans that get ripped off every single day. A few times did I want to throw in a towel? Hells yeah. Did my family at points throw me in a towel? Hells yeah, absolutely. My mother told me to protest Live Nation at one point. Just go protest them. Don't go to the shows. Protest them. I made an analogy with her. I said I got 2 kids, and they support me, and without their support, I wouldn't be continuing this case. You know, two young boys, and I go to my mom. I want to take my kids to Aruba. I'm gonna go on a plane. Oh, Live Nation owns the plane, so I can't take the plane. So I'm gonna drive down to Florida. I drive to Florida. I get to go take a boat to go to Aruba. Ticketmaster owns the boat. So guess what? We can't go to Aruba. I wouldn't be able to take my kids to a Jets game. They live in New England now. It's the Patriots, Celtics, any music event, Disney on Ice to protest them. So you're locked out of society. You're ruined. My kids would have no society. So it's impossible to protest the company. So then my mom said, you know what? You're right. Continue your fight. You're doing it for a right reason. And I know you suffer a lot, but continue your fight.
I think one of the things that a lot of people are so angry about from a consumer point of view, from a fan point of view when it comes to live events, whether it be sport, art, I don't care, race cars, whatever, is the fact that tickets go on sale and they're immediately sold out. But then 10 minutes later, you see them on a secondary website available for 5, 6, 8, 10 times more than the original retail price.
Yeah, there was just a lawsuit. The Federal Trade Commission, I'm not sure if you're aware of, in the United States within the last 6 months, filed a massive lawsuit for Live Nation for actually collaborating and working with the scalpers and profiting on doing so. Live Nation's involved in everything. They control it all.
In Live Nation and Ticketmaster in the States, they're partners. I don't have all the information in front of me as far as the correlation with US to Canada and if it's the same business model or everything's the same as far as ownership goes, but Ticketmaster owns the resale outlets as well. Is that the case?
Live Nation owns Ticketmaster.
Okay.
Ticketmaster is their own resales, and the FTC allegation is that Live Nation and Ticketmaster actually work with the scalpers, profiting to rip off the fans. And there's a major lawsuit on there. And there's recently a lawsuit that just came up. I just saw in Canada 2 days ago. I'm not sure what it was. Canada, one of the commissions you have is asking to break up Live Nation and Ticketmaster because Live Nation owns Ticketmaster.
Mhm.
There's supposed to be two separate entities. Over here, information I've seen, it's all one. They have everybody's data. They have all the information. They work together hand in hand, and they rip off all the fans.
If you have a monopoly and then you also have the collusion, then it ends up being a win-win for them and a lose right from the outset for any fan. And it's not like that money is, like you said before, is going to the artist. It's not going back to the artist. I have a son who's a professional musician, so I'm sensitive to that angle of it because he's trying to make a living. He's not a big name. He drums for some big names, but he's nobody. They're not there to see him. They're there to see the big name, the singer in front. He's sitting there playing the drums, looking at the ass of the guy that they're there to see. Uh, but I mean, the money is not. If the original retail is $100 for a concert ticket, oh God, if only it was $100. If the original retail was $100 for a ticket, and all of a sudden the resale, you've got seven, eight, nine, $1,000. That extra $800 or $900 is not going to the goddamn artist. It's going straight into profit for the company. And it's just so annoying for fans from top to bottom. I mean, I'm all for a company making money. I'm a capitalist when it comes right down to it. But that's bullshit when you're doing it on the backs of hardworking people like your dad, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, $1,000 a ticket. Who can afford that? You have to choose, do I pay my rent? Do I pay my mortgage? Do I miss a car payment to take my kids to a show? It's disgusting. And you know what? Those artists, like you said, like your kid, I believe you said with it, um, the artists so many times sold out arenas are still losing money in this rebate scheme and I'll prove a trial. And Live Nation's just making all the money on the back end. Live Nation there's no entertainment industry. It's a Live Nation industry. That's it. They monopolize the whole entire thing. They own the hot dog man. Every single thing is owned by them. It's beyond a monopoly. It's worse than a mob run community. At least I'm from New Jersey, New York. I fended off the mob. I never had to pay them $1. They let me do business. We have 5 families. At least there's 5 families that compete with each other. Live Nation, it's just one.
Yeah.
There's one, I allege, criminal crime family run by their CEO, Michael Rapino, which I don't know if you saw recently, but he came out. He has the Department of Justice with antitrust allegations against him, lawsuit, Federal Trade Commission, and he also has, from COVID funds, potentially criminal charges against him, including my case. And he came out and publicly recently, John Gotti would have never done this back in the day in New York on trial, and said, let's raise ticket prices. They're too low. That's how much power this company has. That's why they make the mob look like a joke. That's how much power they have.
What does the timeline look for you right now as far as this is concerned? You say it's been going on for 15 years. Is it going to go on for 15 more years because of their 2,000 lawyers and their bottomless pockets? What are they, a $2 to $5 billion company per year? So that, I mean,
Yes.
it's an infinite amount of money compared to what you are trying to raise with your door-to-door cable company, right?
Yeah, $36 billion company. There's no reason in the last 7 years that I haven't had a trial date. I had a firm trial date. Live Nation goes to the court, says we want to mediate again. I'm in another mediation. Um, there's absolutely no reason whatsoever. And to really cover your answer, because people look like 15 years. What's wrong with you? There's no statute of limitations in the United States on a civil lawsuit. I'm not on appeal. I'm still waiting my day in court, which the U.S. Constitution, I believe, entitles you to. Um, and I'm not even on appeal. I'm just waiting my day in front of the jury. I refuse to be acquired. I refuse to settle. And I just want a jury trial. And I'm waiting for that. I'm hoping the court will give me that jury trial. And Live Nation over the years has worked with all their money to keep this for 15 years. When we started off in discovery, they were ordered by a federal judge, magistrate, to turn over discovery in 90 days. 4 years later, we're still fighting back to the court. My lawyer finally sends a letter, and it's literally quoted in the words there. My clients, the plaintiffs, I know they're like wearing out their welcome with you, asking for the discovery, but they're entitled to this. I only, up till this date, have received 5% of the discovery I'm entitled to, and only 1% for the New York and New Jersey market that was actually relevant. They just battle and they work. It works. For the monopoly, this is how it works. They delay, they pressure, they confuse. Only reason I started speaking in this last year, my witnesses are getting old. I'm from the club world. We don't have the healthiest backgrounds. Some of these witnesses go back 15 years, do the math. They were older at the time. I said, if I don't get a trial date, the only way Live Nation beats me and fans keep getting ripped off, and every day my trial's delayed, fans ripped off even more, is because my witnesses passed away for old age. The late congressman that I spoke to you about, Bill Pascrell, that was a supporter of mine, found that report and was going to do press conferences with me. He passed away of old age. So that's the only reason you heard of me in the last year, because that's when I decided to start speaking public.
Hypothetically speaking, I'll ask the opposite in a second, but looking at the situation that you're in, you look in a mirror, you see, okay, I had this much, I was at the pinnacle, and I lost virtually everything. And a credit to you, you've been able to rebound and develop a company and carry on and make a great living for yourself and your family and stuff. But when you've lost everything, what if they win? What more can you lose? Is there more that you can lose, or is it already gone?
Live Nation, I'll tell you one thing. 1,000,000%, the only way Live Nation will win is if my witnesses are not there due to old age and don't make it. They won't win. And you know what? This is way more than about me. I don't care anymore on the financial side of it. They offered me life-changing money I could have walked away from. This, to me, is about an industry I love. Independent promoters, they're almost all gone. They've wiped out most of the club scene. Artists, to talk to your kid, artist development, they pick and choose the artists. The artist development's killed. All the creativity's killed. And the fans, they get ripped off every day. They've destroyed this whole entire industry. So this is more than me. I'm just one victim. I'm speaking out for all the other victims. And I don't blame the artists for not speaking out because they won't get a show. I don't blame an independent promoter that still exists to speaking out because they'll be wiped out like me. And I never ask anybody to go through the stuff I went through. But you know what? I'm happy that I continued this and I will continue this. And if it takes another 15 fucking years, I will continue this. I got it in me because I'm doing this for a greater good than myself. This is for the fans and the industry.
There you go. You answer. I was going to look at it from the other side, from a positive side, from your aspect, and see, like, if you won. You just said what it is. It, the win is evident from where you're sitting in your mind. You're going to win, and it's going to be better for everyone, not just for you.
Yeah, this isn't about me. This is about the industry and this is about the promoters, the artists, and then really the fans.
I guess
in
this
the
is a
scene.
dumb question, considering the fact that you've been doing this for 15 years now, but and you probably would have gathered, circled the wagons if there was other people that were in the same boat as you. But is there anybody else aside, like you're talking about the congressman who passed away and was going to do the press conference with you, but are there other peers and like other guys in the business that can jump on your wagon and give you some support with this, or are you this you're the lone ranger? Is that it? You don't even have a Tonto, do you?
Now it's me against the world. I do have promoters and I have artists, and I will tell you this: behind the scenes, they come to me and say, "Thank you, Tommy. We really appreciate what you're doing. Like you're the man. I appreciate what you're doing. It's crazy what you're trying to do for the scene. And it's awesome." They don't come publicly out and speak on my behalf, and I don't ask them to do. Because if you're an artist, you're not gonna be forming a show. And if you're a promoter still left, you're not gonna have a you don't even have a chance. So I don't blame them, but I do have a lot of support behind the scenes. And now it's nice. Fans are starting to come support me. I had a court date November 18th in New Jersey. It was for some scheduling hearing. And I showed up at the court and there were hundreds of protesters with signs from what I've preached on my social media sites. Lower ticket prices, justice for Tommy D, break up Live Nation and Ticketmaster. So you know what? I was a little down so many years going into that, trying to get a trial date. It fired me up, but I was like, I got another 15 in me. I ain't quitting.
What are your social medias so people can follow along?
My website's TommyDJuiceEntertainment.com. My TikTok, I don't even know it off the top of my head right there, but if you Google my name, Tommy D Juice Entertainment, um, you'll see him up there. I'm launching a new website called shutdownlivenation.com. And I've put on there where you can reach out to your congressman because you can't protest Live Nation, but what you can do is you vote. And if you're in a democracy, you can vote these politicians out of office. So you can reach out to your congressman. I put the numbers on there. Reach out to your senators. Reach out to your governors. Demand change. If you go out and you protest to your senators, to the congressman, and demand that Live Nation and Ticketmaster be broken up, to me, shut down and closed, and demand lower ticket prices. You know what? Your vote's way more powerful than the lobbying money that Live Nation has that pays out to a lot of people because you put these people in office. So that's how you can make a change is going out publicly. And I'm also going to be launching a thing out there for not profit where I'll be launching t-shirts that are lower ticket prices. And I want people to wear these in a dive bar to a stadium and start chants. Think of before your favorite band gets on. 15 people wearing these shirts. Lower ticket prices, lower ticket prices. Michael Rapino, their CEO, what's he going to get on the stage up in Edmonton and say, let's raise ticket prices? How do you think the fans would act up there? So I'm trying to cause a movement. I've been working really hard for it, and I believe it's the people can do it. And I believe one person can start it, but it takes a team. And the fans don't protest the events. You gotta go to events. You can't be locked out of society. Like entertainment business to me is a human right. And Live Nation's locking people out of that from affordability. And I'll tell you one thing, the crazy world we live in, the crazy news cycle everybody looked at today, one thing that Live Nation does well, they don't discriminate. They don't care if you're all the battles candidates. They don't care if you're Canadian. They don't care if you're American. They don't care if you're gay. They don't care if you're Arab. They don't care if you're straight. They don't care if you're Israeli. They'll rip you off. So they don't discriminate. So I'll give their CEO, Michael Rapino, I'll give you one thing. You don't discriminate on ripping everybody off. So anyone. So at least you're anti-discriminatory.
I hope it's not another 15 years that you have to go through this, and I hope when you get the conclusion that you want, I hope we can talk again.
Absolutely. I'd be happy to be on it every time. And I'd love to be on here when ticket prices are getting lowered from my case.
Thanks, Tommy.
Thank you very much for having me. And I wish your family member, I believe you said son, a lot of success in the artist business.
Reluctantly.
This podcast reluctantly sponsored by ThompsonMortgages.com. Get a better rate, term, and service for your 2026 mortgage renewal. Concept Clothing and Culture. CONXEPPT.com. And Wendy Campbell, Realtor with BlackmoreRealEstate.ca. Also a Realtor partner with Rowett New Home Builders.
Reluctantly.